Iran is hitting oil tankers inside the Strait of Hormuz. Oil fell back to $78. So, here's the puzzle. Back in February, war broke out between the United States, Israel, and Iran, and oil did exactly what everyone expects a war to do. Brent crude spiked, climbing toward $120 a barrel on the fear of a supply shock. Then something strange happened. This month, Iran started hitting oil tankers inside the Strait of Hormuz, the single most important oil choke point on Earth, and the war is still hot, with a July ceasefire already collapsed. And yet Brent is back near $78, roughly where the war began. The entire war premium round-tripped, while the war itself never ended. So how does the oil market shrug off live attacks on the world's most important oil artery? The answer is one idea about what a risk premium actually prices. Reason 1. A threat is not a realized outage. The Strait of Hormuz carries about a fifth of the world's oil, roughly 20 million barrels every single day. Iran struck a handful of vessels, and the headlines screamed supply shock. But here is what actually happened to the barrels. The strait stayed open. Tankers kept sailing. No sustained interruption to the flow ever materialized. And that is the gap the market saw and the public missed. A risk premium is priced on the disruption traders expect, not on the barrels actually lost. When the feared closure never comes, the premium has nothing left to stand on. Reason 2. The world was holding a spare tank. Even if Iran had knocked barrels offline, OPEC and its partners were sitting on roughly 3 to 5 million barrels a day of spare capacity. That's the official figure, though some analysts argue it is less. Add strategic reserves and high inventories, and the math is simple. Any barrel Iran could plausibly remove was replaceable and quickly. Scarcity is what makes a price spike stick. With that much idle capacity on standby, real scarcity never got a chance to price in. Fear can move oil for a week. Only genuine scarcity moves it for a quarter. Reason 3. The market has seen this movie before, and now it fast forwards. 2019, drones knocked out about 5% of the world's oil at Saudi Arabia's Abqaiq facility, the largest supply outage in history. And Brent's record one-day spike had fully unwound within 2 weeks once output was restored. 2020, oil jumped on the Soleimani strike, then reversed within days, when no energy infrastructure was actually touched. Each time, the same lesson burned in deeper. A Middle East oil scare reverses unless something physical truly breaks. So this time, traders didn't wait around. They unwound the premium faster, because they already knew how the story tends to end. Now, the honest other side, because this is not premiums always vanish. There is a condition that brings the premium back and keeps it there, and 2022 proved it. When Russia invaded Ukraine, Brent spiked toward $133, but this time, barrels actually moved. Sanctions and reroutes pulled real supply out of its normal channels for months, and that premium did not round trip. Oil faded, but it settled around $85, still above where it started, a full year later. So here is the falsifier, stated precisely. If Iran actually closed the strait, or barrels were persistently lost, this premium would stick, exactly like Russia's did. The fade is not magic. It is the market's verdict that no sustained supply was lost. Change that one fact, and the whole call flips. So what actually settled it? Not a ceasefire. There wasn't one. The war is still live as Brent sits near 78. What settled it was the difference between a threat and an outage. Oil spiked toward 120 on the fear of a Hormuz shock, and it round-tripped to 78 because that fear never turned into lost barrels. The premium was never a floor under the price. It was a bet on a disruption, and the disruption didn't come. That's the whole lesson in one line. The market priced the fear, and then it priced the barrels, and the barrels never left. Right that the war is dangerous, wrong about what that danger does to the price. So, back to the puzzle. How does oil fall to 78 while Iran is still hitting tankers in Hormuz? Because a war premium prices the disruption the market expects, and it decays the moment that disruption fails to arrive, even with the war still burning. So the honest verdict isn't that oil is cheap, and it isn't a forecast of where it goes next. It's a status. This premium priced the fear, not the barrels. Watch one thing above all, not the headlines, but the barrels. If the Strait of Hormuz actually closes, or supply is persistently lost, the premium comes roaring back, exactly like 2022. Until then, a threat is not an outage. One last note. The war timeline and oil levels are public reporting. Rechecked at Publish. This is an educational framework about how risk premiums behave, not advice, and not a call to buy or sell oil, energy, or anything else. Fear moves price for a week. Only lost barrels move it for a quarter. And nobody rings a bell when a threat finally turns real.